Hello, I'm Tony Allcock, and welcome to the Art of Bowls. So far in this series, we've dealt exclusively with singles play. But more important to me is team play. We're all involved in team play, whether at club, county or international level. Team play involves ladies. And to assist me to demonstrate this point, I've brought along my great friend, world champion, Margaret Johnston. Hello, Margaret.
Hi, Tony.
Nice to see you. Tell me, I must ask you, how did you actually get into this game of bowls?
Well, 26 years ago, the local minister was starting up a short mat bowling club in the village where I lived. So I just went along for more or less a night out. And it just started from that. It took me a long time, it was just a couple of nights a week. And now, short mat is big business in Northern Ireland. We have 1,030 clubs affiliated to our association, and there's an average of 36 to 40 bowlers in each club, which makes 40,000 bowlers. And short mat is popular in the north because it is an inexpensive game. You pay £7 or £8 for your club membership, and you don't need a uniform. All you need is flat shoes, and you can play with your husband or your brother or sister, and kids from the age of 8 up to the age of 80 can play it, and no restrictions.
Right. The short mat, it has the name suggests, is it a permanent structure? Because I've never played it, actually.
No, it's just a mat. It's 40 to 45 feet long, 6 foot wide, and you can roll it up after each session. And most clubs have 3 to 4 mats, and we have quite a lot of competitions in the north, and you could be out 4, 5, 6 nights a week playing competitions. It is an amateur sport, and we are not allowed to accept money, but you get some good prizes like portable colour televisions, Waterford crystal, Tyrone crystal, Ainsley,
Right.
China.
Super.
Yeah.
Did you, when you play on a short mat, obviously you don't need as much power behind the bowler, obviously for the distance.
That's right.
Did you find that helped you when you played in New Zealand, where you in fact got gold medals in the World Championship there?
Yes, it does. It helps you to keep your weight down, and but you find you can adjust your weight to a faster green than you can to a heavy green.
Really? Because it is difficult in New Zealand, isn't it?
It is,
I mean,
yes.
People, even experienced players, just have no idea what it's like, have they?
No. Well, it's not the speed of the green, it's the wind that I find a wee bit hard to cope with out there. But the New Zealand ones and Australians, they find it very difficult when they come here to the UK, because, as I said, you can adjust to a lighter green better than you can adjust to heavy greens.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that you can actually adjust to a lighter green or a faster green than a heavy green?
Well, I think here in our indoor and outdoor, you have to adjust to short ends and long ends, and out there the weight's more uniform than it is here, and if we play the short ends here, then that's the long end out in New Zealand,
right.
Australia.
Yeah. Tell me, Margaret, one of the things that I know you can cope with very well, and that's playing against male bowlers, and sometimes women feel very inhibited when they're actually against a male player.
Well, I really enjoy bowling against the men, because
I know.
yeah, you and I had a great game.
Yeah.
I find it improves my game, and unfortunately I don't get the competition at home that I need to keep me at the standard that I think that I should be playing at, and I really enjoy my competitions against the men.
Yeah, I mean, having said that the competition, I mean, do I hear you saying to me that you find it better competition to play against male bowlers than against women bowlers, for example?
Well, the majority of women, they just go out more for a social evening, and they talk about their knitting and their baking and what they did. And the men, they don't talk, they're in there to practice, and that's what they're there for.
Right.
And I really need that practice to keep me up to the standard that's required of me.
Right. When we last played against each other, it was, as you say, it was a tremendous game,
Yeah.
and of course you've played against, some of the top men bowlers
Yes.
before and given them an awful fright. Some male players may find it quite inhibiting to play against yourself. I mean, I actually enjoyed it, and to me it doesn't really matter, but there is a certain amount of pressure on the male player, I feel, because there are certain male bowlers who feel that a man bowler, whatever the standard, should always beat a female bowler.
Yes, I find that it's not the men themselves, but it's the friends that keep them going because they've been beaten by a woman. But I don't think that's fair, because it is a sport that everybody can be equal in. And us women, we're not there to prove that we can beat the men. We just want to prove that we can bowl as well as the men.
I'm sure you can more than prove that, Margaret. And I'll tell you what, being a perfect gentleman, I'll give you the jack and prove to me that you can beat me on this end.
Right, you're on.
Do you think there's any advantage, Margaret, of actually, at the beginning of a game, if you win the toss, you've got the option, haven't you? Yes. Getting the jack or having the last bowl. I mean, what do you invariably do?
Well, on the outdoor and the indoor, I take the jack, but in short mat, I give the jack away.
Why is that?
Well, in the short mat, you have the last bowl, and sometimes it's very important in the short mat. But in this, you have your own distance. Indoor and outdoor, you have your own distance to play to. And usually in the trial ends, in indoor and outdoor, you know if your opposition is a heavy bowler or a short jack bowler. So then you either put up your long jack or your short jack to put them off in the first end.
Right.
In the short mat, you place your jack on a line.
Right.
So it doesn't make really much difference. Oh. But the trial ends should tell you a lot of your opposition.
That's right. I mean, we always get a trial end.
Yes.
You know, sometimes in television games we get 2 or 3, but generally speaking, in ordinary games, even club games, we always get one trial end in one direction and one trial in the other, don't we? And it does tell you a lot, doesn't it?
It does, yes. And a lot of people don't use the information.
That's right. That's true. I see why you've bowled a short jack. That's a cracking opening bowl, Margaret. A little bit heavier, but that'll keep, as they say.
Yes, it will. It's a good back ball, good position.
Played again. Well played. Margaret, I've noticed that the bowls you use are larger than mine.
Yes, I bowl with a 6 standard.
Crikey, your hands are smaller as well.
Yeah, well, I started the short mat in a 6 standard, and I tried to come down to a 5 standard, and it was like different with it's a different game, so I had to go back to my 6s, and I find that a 6, being a big bowl, is harder to move out of the head.
It certainly is.
Than, yeah, some of the ladies bowl with a 1 and a 2, and if you touch them at all, away they go.
But the reason, a lot of people would bowl with a small bowl because they've got a small hand. I mean, obviously, any advice you would give to perhaps a lady that's got a very small hand and feels that they can't manage such a large bowl as, for example, that you bowl with?
Well, it all depends how comfortable your bowl feels in your hand. And I find a lot of people are surprised that I bowl with such a big bowl, but I find it's comfortable, and the results that I'm getting are quite good at the moment. And I think that if you find a bowl that's comfortable, it might be slightly larger than what you have, but just use it.
Well, I bowl with a 5-inch bowl, and I bowl with heavyweight bowls, which gives me this. In fact, you said that yours is a standard. In fact, it's a medium weight, isn't it? So, in fact,
but equal in weight.
It will be. Yeah. Although your bowl's larger than this one is the same weight as yours, because this is heavyweight and yours is the normal weight.
Well, out in New Zealand and Australia, I bowl with the 5 heavyweight.
Yes.
Because they recommend the heavyweight for their conditions.
Yes, because the heavyweight bowl is more embedded onto the very fine surface and less affected by the wind because it's heavier.
Yes, and I'm not actually changing my bowl because they're of equal weight. Might be a size smaller, but the heavyweight makes up for the 6 standards, so that's why I use it.
Right, well those 2 bowls which are size 6 are right in front of the jack and they look like footballs. That's a bad bowl, Margaret. I'm finding this morning that this stadium is a lot warmer and consequently the green seems a lot faster than perhaps we've been playing on other days. It does affect, the heat does affect greens, doesn't it?
Yes, so much so. That's why you beat me that day in the UK, because somebody opened a door and the green got heavy and I didn't catch on that it was that wee bit dead.
Yeah, actually they did during that game,
Yeah,
didn't they? The
did.
fire exits came
Yeah.
in the Preston Guildhall, the fire exits opened, letting cold air into the building, and consequently these greens, which are made of man-made fibres, they contract and expand with heat, don't
yes.
they?
Well, that was my excuse, anyway.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
You've got I've got no excuses here.
If my husband would say you took a rush of blood to your head with that
Yeah,
bowl.
I think I did. Dearie me, Margaret, you're going to give me a chance?
Not if I can help it.
Good. Mr. Marker, could you tell me which is actually the shot bowl there and how far is it short?
That's the shot bowl, Tony, 18 inches from the jack.
Right, thank you. Oh, thank you, Margaret. You give me about 18 inches. Nice that you can have somebody from the other rink to actually come and
Yes.
mark for you. You don't have, when you're practicing, you don't have that luxury, do you, really?
True.
You know, Margaret, I think I'm still overweight. I'm not taking any sympathy on you, you know. So we can have a look at that, because I
Yes.
don't really want to look at it, because I've made such a shambles of it, but... Oh dear, Margaret, it seems to get worse the farther you come up here and have a look at it. This is a classic example, isn't it, where I'm actually caught cold on the very first end, which often happens, actually,
Yes.
surprisingly enough, and I'm in real trouble. But let's think about, your next shot. You've got a last bowl and you're already line 3, and I haven't got anything near.
Well, I'll be trying to get another bowl near the jack, because you have another one and you can either play the yard on shot and split those two and run in for shot, or you could change your backhand and draw in up to that bowl and get the shot too. There's so many chances. I also need to get round the back again between that jack and the bowl, in case you take the jack back and I lose the count of 4.
Right, right.
So instead of lifting 4, I could lose 4.
Right. I mean, a lot of people looking at this head would think, wow, it's a great opportunity for the white player, the player with the white stickers, because the jack goes through, there's 4 shots. But in realistic terms, it's going to take a fantastic bowl to swerve round there
Yes.
to take the jack through. I mean, there's not a clear, what we would say, not a clear
Clear
road
run.
to the jack,
No.
is there? It's obviously got to be one of these bowls hit onto the jack. And let's face it, if we were relying on hitting one of these bowls exactly onto that jack to play it through, it's got to be almost spot on, hasn't it? And there's no room for error whatsoever.
Yes, and if he misses it, he's down 4 shots. But if he draws to cut down, he could maybe only lose 1.
Right.
I would play the cut down shot rather than the taking the chance to carry it through.
Right, I haven't actually told you what I intend to play, but I will, if unless you put one right in my eye, I will in fact try and draw again, because although I've had 3 bad attempts at actually drawing, the positive thing I'm thinking about is that I've actually got the line right to the jack.
Yeah.
My bowls have all finished on the right line. And if I reduce the weight, That's all I've got to think about. I've got
That's
the
all,
line, it's the weight. If I change to this hand and draw in here, this is fresh territory. I'm
Yes.
not really sure. I've only had one trial end. I'm not really sure what that's going to do. And the alternative, as you said, would be to play weight onto your bowls, ideally to split and to run through. But at the moment, I've got a clear draw in there.
Yes.
Unless, of course,
I block it.
you put a bowl in there. So I suppose at this moment in time, I can't fully decide what I'm doing. And all I know is that I'm not very confident. I'll watch you play your bowl. Well, Margaret, I see you're taking no chances and you've plopped a back bowl in there.
Well, I must admit it went farther than I intended. I was looking between the jack and your back bowl. But it'll do no harm there. But it leaves you plenty of room to draw.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, if in the meantime, me watching you play that bowl, if I decided perhaps to play onto those bowls in the front to take the jack through, then there's one there that's right in the middle of my white bowls. It's going
That's
to reduce
right,
the
yeah.
count. But I'm going to see if I can try and just adjust the weight, keeping the same line, and draw the shot. But as I said before, when you've bowled 3 bowls and you haven't got it,
Yes.
you know, you've only got the one chance,
left,
haven't
yes.
you?
And if you miss it, I still get the 3 shots. And
Don't remind
3
me.
shots is hard to come.
Oh, thank you,
Saved the
Margaret.
day.
Yeah, that's a relief, and you certainly gave
Yes.
me a lot to think about. But in that situation, we really discussed it, that it was fairly simple, wasn't it? The fact
Was,
is that
yeah.
I just had to think about
Wait.
the weight.
Yeah.
And you, with your last bowl, you had a number of options, didn't you? You know,
I
you
had,
would.
yeah.
Mine was really a simple one, and the fact that if I could keep the same line and just reduce the weight, then of course I'd be getting the shot. But it certainly tested me.
Well, actually, I was trying to play the shot that you played, but I was overweight. And instead of being 3 up and 1 down, so it's a difference of 4 shots.
Yeah.
And when you're playing competitive bowls at the high level, you can't afford to make mistakes like that.
No. Psychologically, if the shot bowl had been, that it is now, had been a red bowl,
Yeah.
and I'd got 1 more bowl to play, then of course I'd have to I'd be going down to that mat and saying to you, or saying to myself rather, well, I'm 4 down now. You know, and that is when what we say psychologically putting the pressure on, don't we?
Yes,
We really put the pressure on our opponents. And in a sense, I suppose, because you actually went through with your last bowl and left me an open head, it helped me in a sense, because I had little to think about other than just reducing the weight.
But even if I had placed the bowl where yours is, all you had to do was draw up to that bowl for
Right.
these shot.
It's not.
It's well played, Anna.
Yeah, I was pleased with it. But having said that, I shouldn't be in that situation after all, should I, with the first 3 bowls?
Well, I find that if you catch the green right away in the competition, you fall away halfway through it. When you start to struggle, you concentrate better, and then you come onto your game.
Yes, it's
Which is
about concentration,
yes,
isn't the game?
Yes, 100% concentration is one of the main things. in
All
this.
too often when we're in front, we tend to be a bit relax a little bit, and we've got no pace to follow. You know.
My secretary says that I go to sleep, so she could be right.
That's good. Margaret, one of the interesting things that I found when I've actually been playing mixed bowls and perhaps in a mixed fours is that lady bowlers are often frightened to play the very heavy shot, the firing shot. Is that because there's a physical difference between a man and a woman, or is it a psychological one?
But I don't think it's the physical side. I think most of the ladies thinks it's not very ladylike to be driving on a, on a green. I must admit I would have more faith in a drawing shot or a yard-on shot, but if the occasion arose, I would have a go. I don't always have a good result, but it pays you to be up sometimes.
Right, and you do use it. You know,
I do, yes,
use weight, don't you? Because you actually skip for island, ladies, indoors and outside. I'll tell you what we'll do, Margaret. We'll set up a head where, in fact, both of us have got the opportunity of using weight. And perhaps you might describe to me how, in fact, you intend to use the weight and what you actually do, whether you change your delivery or whether you actually change your action. Because some bowlers actually change their action from a drawing shot to a firing shot. And also we can talk about the amount of weight that we might use in that particular instance.
Don't make it too difficult.
Okay. Well, Margaret, we've constructed this head. I'm lying one shot with a back bowl, two short bowls, which are not really in the count, but you've got three very interesting bowls there. You would say, as an experienced player, that there are two options in this head of shots to play, isn't there?
There is. You could play well, it all depended on your score. If it's in a league match and you needed 2 or 3 shots to win the game, you could play the drive to take the back bowl out.
Right, that's the shot one.
Yes, which would bring you in 3 shots, possibly 4. Or if you're all square and you hadn't the confidence, which most ladies haven't got, to play that running shot, to draw, and perhaps if they didn't miss the front bows, the 2 front bows here, to knock in, which would bring in possibly a shot.
Right. Or alternatively, if they were really skillful, they could take the absolute wide line and they just might curl round this bowl on the outside of it and get the shot bowled.
Yes.
If it wasn't necessary for you to actually get 3 shots in a singles game, for example, say you were perhaps level and it was the beginning of the game, which shot would you play then?
Well, at the beginning of the game, I would try the draw shot, because if it didn't come off right, the jack could go back, and I've lost 2. At the moment, there's only 1 against me, and 1 is easier to get back than 2.
Right, so you'd actually not you'd try not for rolling that bowl over into that position or drawing
around it,
obviously, the weight shot, I feel, for me, is an easier option, surprisingly enough. I feel that even if it was the beginning of the game, I would take a chance and look straight for that bowl and drive down with weight between the 2 bowls to take it out. But I think that perhaps reflects upon the style of my game, not because I'm a man and you're a woman. I think what I'd like to do is for you to play the shot that you described with this bowl here, and then when you played that, we'll reconstruct the head, and you can perhaps play the weighty shot to illustrate how difficult it is. It isn't as easy as it looks, the weighty shot, is it?
No, it looks easy. Sometimes the easier shots are the hardest to play.
Right.
And but it would be a good shot to take that out to bring in a count. And it might sometimes, when you play the heavy shot against your opponent, it kind of upsets them.
Yes.
And
a lot of people, it breaks their rhythm. If they're drawing really close to the jack all the time and your opponent keeps knocking you off, it's a bit of a thump in the belly, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Well, I'll tell you what, take that bowl, play the first option, which is the draw to turn the bowls over, which I would say a lot of ladies would opt to play in the ladies' game.
Yes.
And then, as you say, the second shot, you can play weight. Brilliant shot, Margaret. That was a fine example of just using a little bit of weight, enough weight in fact to lift the bowl a few times. But really, were you actually drawing that shot?
No, just a couple of feet of running.
Right.
Because she needed that to, when you made contact with the bowl, to shift it.
Right. Now the other alternative we talked about, shall we put this bowl back to where it was, approximately? You'd agree it was about there, was it? And the other more difficult shot is the power shot.
Yeah.
And something which ladies don't often play. I've seen you play it often enough. So perhaps you'll go and play it again.
Right, I'll have a go.
Brilliant, Margaret. I'm pleased I'm not playing you in a championship game today. That was superb. A fine example of the weight shot. In fact, the semi-drive, you know, cutting the bias, having a go for it, chancing your arm, and perfect execution, well played. Yeah,
you find sometimes through a game that you are offered a chance like that, and it's worthwhile taking it.
Yeah, certainly was.
Because it could mean a lot at the end of the game.
We started this film talking about team play and about ladies' play. I've invited 6 colleagues from the club here in Birmingham to join us this afternoon. And I hope you don't mind, Margaret, but I've put you down as one of the skips.
Terrific.
Let's go and meet them. The beauty of the game of bowls is that everyone can play, whatever their age or physical ability. It's a great family game, and today's no exception. Amongst our colleagues here from the club in Birmingham, we have a mother and daughter, Anne and Sally, and a father and son, Mark and Tony. They're actually going to play with Margaret and myself. Of course, the ladies on Margaret's side and the men on mine. It's a real challenge. Mark and Sally are actually going to play lead. They're going to be responsible for delivering the jack and bowling the first bowls. Margaret, you're going to be the skip of your rink. What will you be expecting your lead to do for you?
Well, I expect Sally to get as near as possible to the jack. About 2 or 3 inches would be suitable. One in front of it and one behind it.
And of course, the responsibility of the lead will be to deliver the jack. And of course, whoever wins the toss of the 2 of them will have the choice of delivering the jack or going second.
That's right.
And of course, when we're skipping, as we will be, we'll expect them to be delivering the jack more or less to where we tell them.
That's right.
So are you listening, leads? The second position is Sharad for me and Margaret for Margaret. The second is obviously a very difficult position. A lot of people will tell you it's where to put beginners. I totally disagree. I'm sure you do, Margaret, as well, don't you?
Yes, I count a second skip, because she has to play a variety of shots sometimes, because if your lead misses the drawn shot, she has to draw. If the opposing lead has 2 close shots, she might have to open the head, and it is a very important position, and not a position to take lightly.
No. The second is responsible in the rink for keeping the score, and they have to have a good pen and be able to count as well. Can you do that? Good. The third position, that's the third man or the third lady, in this case Tony and Anne, has really another difficult position. The third man or lady has to be the vice captain of the rink, has to closely liaise with the skip, in this case myself and Margaret, and has to have a very good understanding of the game. What do you look for, Margaret, in the third man or lady that's playing in your rink?
Well, the third, as sometimes the second, they have a variety of shots also. Drawn positional bowls, opening a head, drawn, if you're lying, drawn another shot. And it's not easy, I must admit, but perhaps we expect so much of our thirds, but they do their best, just the same as a skip does their best. Don't always come off, but...
And going on to the skip, or the skipper or leader of the rink, his or her duty is in fact to direct, to be the conductor of the great orchestra in front of them. They should bring the best out of the players and be encouraging at all times, but not forgetting that they're also expected to perform and invariably have to carry the can if things go wrong. Margaret, I wonder who will be carrying the can today, whether it be you or whether it be me.
Well, I hope it's you.
Thank you very much. What are you going to call them? We'll start the game. Head. Tails it is. What shall we do, Mark? Shall we take the jack or give it away?
Take the jack.
We'll take the jack. Well done, Mark. That's certainly a good opening bowl, Mark. Just fraction more green next time, and the weight's about right.
Right, Sally? Come on. Looking good. Up you come. Oh, nice try, girl. Well played. Your jack high.
Mark, before you deliver this next bowl, just make sure that your back foot is in the middle of the mat. You are very near to the front of the mat, and your foot has got to be on or over the mat when you actually deliver your bowl. So I don't want you to get into the habit of foot faulting. So make sure that your foot is right in the middle of the mat. All right? Same again, just a little bit wider. Okay, nice try. Just probably a touch wide, but nevertheless you did correct, and that was good.
Sally, your weight's good. Just take a shade more green. Looking good again. Come on. Oh, well played. Well played.
Margaret, would you say that as was a good bowl from a lead, because she was, I mean, she got the line right, but she was considerably heavy, wasn't she?
Well, her bowl followed the jack, and I consider it quite a good bowl because she is holding short.
Yep, and the line was right.
The line was right, yeah, just slightly heavy, but still her bowl went with the jack.
Shared, the jack has moved slightly off centre now, so the green that you took in the trial ends is slightly changed. So you have to take a narrower line because the jack is further over onto the left-hand side. Just try and draw it as close as you can. Try and build this head up. We're 2 down. Well, it's certainly a good try. Just a fraction of running next time, but remember that line, it was pretty good.
Margaret, we hold short. Bowls jack high. Just up to it. Your line was good. Another 2 yards.
You often get that with a number 2. They see that the lead's right on, and they're frightened of
they're
knocking it off,
yes.
aren't they, really? But ideally, you do want your number 2 to reach, either to turn that bowl nearer or to put one just round the back.
Around the back, yes, for position.
How's your memory? Good. Same line, just a little more weight. I'll tell you what, They're not far off with this. Bend now. Bend. You can stay on. That will be a very good bowl. Okay, Sharad, you watch, that'll be good.
Right, Margaret, don't worry if you're around the back. If the jack's moved, it'll go back, it'll not go forward. That's your line, looking good. Come on. Come on. On up. Oh, it's a cracker. Well played. And another toucher.
Margaret, I see you using this special spray.
Yes. I got it out in New Zealand. And it is good because if you get a bowl at an upward angle, you don't have to touch it to mark it. Because a lot of people accuse you of tumbling their bowl. And when it comes to measure, it could be very vital to the end. So it's ideal.
So when my player gets a toucher, don't forget to mark it.
Yes, I'll give him a puff.
Tony, we are 2 shots down, but one thing for sure about this bowl, that you're not going to get anything through being short. So you want to try and arrive to this jack just with a little bit of weight, remembering we have got a back bowl. Just try and draw it, just remembering to be slightly overweight. If you miss the jack and go through, it's a better fault than being short. I tell you what, Tony, Margaret's going to be using this chalk again, I think. Come on. Oh, that's very good. Well done. Definitely on now.
Three shots against. Now that bowl is a good yard, short. Just draw around it. You can do it, no problem. That's jack high. Come in, come on. Come on. Now your whip was perfect, jack high. You just need to tighten your green slightly.
Tony, that's our bowl a yard away, but I actually like that bowl because it's almost in the way of the line to the jack. As a guide, bearing in mind that we're on a green perhaps where we haven't played before, we're on new territory over here, I would deliver your bowl at that one there. Take that as your guide for the green, and if you do that and your weight's right, you're sure to finish somewhere inside and to count another. All right, fortunate, very, very fortunate.
Lucky. Right on. Use that for your green. And keep your weight. The weight was perfect. Come on. Now slip inside it. Come on. Easy now. Easy. Oh well. That's shot.
Well done. Great bowl. Oh, well, Margaret, I don't think there's much option here other than to draw the shot for me. Yeah. I can't see that red bowl. I can't see that red shot bowl from the mat. So I think we've got a drawing game, you and I.
Yes.
Off we go.
I'll wait till you play.
All right. Lucky again.
Yes, I know it's difficult with that bowl, but when you're up, you can see it's about 3 to 4 feet short.
Yes, but it looked near.
Yes,
Oh, Not
1
quite
yard
enough
short.
weight, I don't think. Giving you a chance.
Yes, you are indeed.
If this bowl looks like it's coming quite near, Shara, don't clap, will you? It's the opposition. She certainly bowled very wide to avoid any of our white bowls that might be in the way. Actually, that's a lovely bowl. Well played, Margaret. That's
Yes.
right. The good shot about that, actually, is that if she'd have put it close to the jack, I might have had a target. I might have been able to get through a gap and take her out. But unfortunately, she's forced my hand. I've got to try and just get a length bowl around that and hopefully get the shot. That bowl, I said, was a good bowl at one time when we were laying the shot. That's the bowl that's difficult for me now, so I've got to just swerve by it. I'll try and do my best, lads.
Yeah. You could drive a bus through it.
Thank you very much. Miss it. Miss it.
Oh, well played. Well, girls, what will I do? Yeah, I could play a running shot, just missing that, and get her into the ditch. But they have the best back one. Or even if I got the ball. I'll try it. You rascal.
Actually, Tony, I was a bit lucky there because I wanted a clear road. I wanted to avoid that road, but actually my weight was good and I glided. But oh, you have to admit it. I'll tell you one thing, she won't be short at this. Nothing to gain through being short.
Oh, not that one.
She's unlucky, unlucky. Two. Unlucky, Margaret. You didn't have, you know, you had lots of rocks in the way there and you didn't have a lot of chance. But
I needed the gap.
well done, lads. 2 shots. Well done, Mark. It's a good jack, straight to my feet. Margaret, we won the end last time, so we have to take the jack. Don't you think it's fairer that we had the choice whether we take the jack, rather like when we spun up the jack at the beginning of the game?
Yes, I think it's fair enough.
If I had a rule to change in our laws of the game, I would actually sort of say, well, the person that won the previous end should have the choice.
Well, sometimes it would pay and sometimes it wouldn't, so
That's
I
true.
think the rules as they stand.
You're happy with them?
Happy enough.
I'd like to see a change. Right, mate. Ready now. Okay, Mark, you threw the jack slightly shorter, and that was exactly the length before. So remember that green, it was excellent.
Looking good, Sally. Come on. In you come. Come on. Oh, nice ball, girl. Nice ball. 1.5.
Same line, Mark. Just take a little bit of weight off. Well, Seem to have corrected pretty well here. That's the idea. Well played indeed. Good lad. Great bowl.
Sally, still stay in the backhand. That boat's only half a bowl short of jack high. Just inside it. Come on, looking good. Come in. Well, that's okay. It's a good back bowl.
Sharad, I want you to just to try and draw with the first bowl. Don't worry about the fact that they've got two nice red bowls waiting for the jack. I want you to try and draw as close as you can, so when the next person comes on the mat, they're really under pressure. So make sure this is a very close bowl. Ideally, we would like that bowl just moved to there. But if you put another bowl into that head, I'll be very, very pleased.
Looks good.
Yep, a little bit on the wide side, but nevertheless, you've done exactly what I asked. Not quite. Only still one. Lucky.
Is that ball in your eye, Margaret?
Try and get around it.
No, I want you inside it. Just play inside it. Come on. Come on. Your line was good. Another yard.
Actually, it was a good shot because
Yes.
she had to think of bringing the line in, didn't she?
she
Bringing
did.
the bowl in
Yeah.
to avoid that. But that's often the case. We do that, don't we? We get the line right and forget the weight.
Wait, true.
Or vice versa. We get the weight right and
Yeah.
just forget the
Forget the
line.
line.
So I always think it's a good sign with somebody who's just beginning. If they get one element right,
Yes.
it's easy to correct next time. It's when they get both that the problem starts. Again, Sharad, a little bit more, just a little touch more running, and you can hopefully get inside your own bowl now. All right, Sharad, one thing I'd like to say to you is it's very good. It was a bad bowl, and you knew it was not correct from the moment it left your hand. But you watched it very carefully. All too often people see it's going to be a bad bowl and turn their back on it and walk away rather self-consciously to get out of the way to clear the mat for the next person. But you watched that bowl until it had actually finished, remembering that it's your prerogative to watch that bowl. It's your mat until that bowl comes to rest. Then the rules say you must either be behind the mat or behind the head. But that was very good. You did watch your mistake, and that's where we learn from our mistakes.
Margaret, your line was perfect. Just put a yard on it. This is our bowl. If you carry the jack back, don't worry. Come on. Looking good. Come on. You're trying. Come on. Still that yard. Your line was perfect.
Tony, I'm going to still bring you that side because that bowl now is clearly blocked that side completely and there's no advantage to us at all other than to play the red bowls up. You've got to remember as number 3 that we are very vulnerable if the jack comes through. But I'd like to see another one very close here. We're only one shot, and at the moment, if that bowl goes, we're going to lose the shot anyway. So I would, with your first bowl, put a good shot in, well remembering that if you put one in, the next bowl will have to be round the back. Make sure this counts. Big effort now. Well, certainly time for change. Once again, fortune's on our side.
Change to your forehand. Now that front bowl is 1.5 yards short. No problem. Just your weight, that's all. You're carrying about 5 yards.
Hold on, Tony. Let me take a careful look at this. The thing is, if our bowl is taken out through that hole, we're going to lose the shot with that bowl there. So I would suggest to you that we want another one in, a drawn shot. Now, you've played this hand very well, but on this occasion I'm going to ask you to take a new territory, change the forehand, because really those bowls are pretty dangerous. If you tap them up, it's going to be in our opposition's, to our opposition's advantage. So I would play around there, just a draw shot. If you turn that bowl, that's fine, that's our bowl. Just a draw, remembering that you were very heavy last time. That was a lovely line, but a change of shot, change of hand, you just forgot about the weight again.
Right, and just bring a tear now to Tony's eye. Just draw one on the nose of it. Looking good. Come on. Well, you never know. Come on, push it up. Oh, that's another good sign.
Well, Margaret,
Yeah.
that was a good bowl for you, in as much that it's given you another one close, but I don't think...
It does away with the drive.
It does away with the drive. It blocks that line to take our bowl out. So in many ways, it's a mixed blessing. You've got the second wood, your drive's blocked. I'm going to try and draw another one in. Lucky again, Tony. It's our lucky day today, you know.
Hard luck, Anne. Just nipped your green a wee bit, but your weight would have done. Yes. It's not meant any use it. Good ball.
What are you
Good
going to do?
position.
What are you going to do?
I'm not telling you.
No, although I didn't get another one in, Tony, I intended to, so it was a bit of a mistake, but I made sure I was enough weight so that if she... Yeah, to cover the back. If she draws the jack through now, we've got a good weighting bowl. And she's not far away, as expected. Very close here. Very close.
Oh. Well
Yeah,
positioned.
well, it was...
We've got the luck.
We've got the luck again. Yes, but the only thing that bothers me now, Margaret, is that I guess you're going to be coming down this hand here with a bit of weight, hoping to get that jack to your back bowl, aren't you?
Yeah, how did you guess?
Well, Tony, we've got two choices here. This is a classic example. We've got two choices. We're either going to put a bowl down with that furthest red back bowl there in case she gets the jack, or I'm going to try and draw another one to create an obstacle. That bowl at the back, it's going to take a very, very good bowl to be further to the ditch, because it's only that much away. So realistically speaking, I'm not going to get any further back than that bowl without going into the ditch. So I feel that tells me to try and get another one in. If I can try and just cover the jack to stop the target, then that's the best shot to play. Is that the shot that you would play?
Yes, I would. Yes. I'm hoping I could get round there.
Yes. I think I'm going to try and get inside this bowl. And even if I'm short and stop there, at least it's in the eye. Do you agree, team?
Yes.
You do. Because years ago, you know, the number 1s and 2s were never allowed to participate in the game. When I first started, I was told if I was playing lead or second that when I played my bowls to get onto the bank and not to participate. But the modern day game is that everybody's involved.
Team
1,
effort.
2, 3 and 4. A real team effort.
Yeah, you had a good ball position. Maybe we'll give it to
Well, it wasn't what I wanted. And it's not a very good shot, that.
Well, Anne, I have an option. Bowler jack. I have position. The shot's against me, and if I slice the jack well, I could go to here, but still we're only one down. The shot's... I can't see me taking my own bowler out to lose 3. I'll just... Yeah. Couple of yards around.
Of course, she will have realised by now, of course, that me knocking that bowl up has given her opportunity. If she's slightly wide, she'll play the wick and the plant shot. It'll bring her back onto the jack. It was far better before because there was a nice gap, but I played a bad shot and I'll probably have to pay the penalty for it now. Oh dear, she's very close here. I hope you get wrecked on these front bowls, Margaret, otherwise you've got it. Well played, that's a brilliant shot. Congratulations, very good, all square, that's great. Margaret, we've had a great afternoon and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm sure our family who were once at war are now a family at peace.
Well, hopefully, and they all enjoyed it.
That's what the art of bowls is all about, enjoying the game, isn't it?
Enjoying it, yes. It's nice to win, but to enjoy it is the aim.
In this highly competitive game, which it can be, it's surprising that we don't get a lot of gamesmanship, do we?
No. Sportsmanship is the 100%.
Margaret, before you go, something I must ask you is this afternoon we've noticed that you haven't got that white hat on that lady bowlers often wear.
Thankfully, no. I would like to see it done away with, especially when we're bowling outdoor, because if it's windy, as you get down to bowl, up goes the hat, and it destroys your concentration. But unfortunately, we have to persevere with this hat.
And that's a shame, because a lot of young ladies who want to play the game will not be seen dead with that hat on, would they?
You're dead right.
Margaret, I've enjoyed your company. Thanks ever so much for a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Bless you. Well, that just about rounds off the series. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. We started with basics, looking at bowls and equipment, and everything a bowler might need. With the help of Brian Duncan, Wyn Richards, and my club colleague from Cheltenham, Andrew Wills, we looked at the shots to play, how to play them, when to play them, and when not to play them. With the help of Margaret Johnston, we looked at the ladies' game. What a fine ambassador of the game she is. We moved on to the team game, exploring the different positions a member of the team would take. It isn't easy for a top player like myself to explain the various happenings in bowls. And please remember that we don't know everything, we're always learning. And furthermore, remember what I always say, keep it simple. This is where it all began.